It is an unlikely place to find Ukraine's war effort in full swing. In the bowels of a former railway plant, 5,000 miles from the battlefields, American steelworkers producing round after round of artillery. We're on the production line of a century-old factory, an industry that had been dismissed as obsolete is now in overdrive.
This robot will operate in this environment all day, every day.
The tour offered to Sky News is an attempt to show that the production line is fine, that the West is not running out of ammunition. The US Army's boss here is Richard Hansen. There's a surge in production.
We're working as hard as we need to work to fulfill the requirements of the contract. We're working probably 2 shifts every day, solid 5-6 days a week, and also preparing, to increase production incrementally.
None of the officials will mention Ukraine itself. Language is carefully controlled, contracts and meeting demand. But the contract is Ukraine and the demand is huge. The flow has not been this fast since the Korean War 70 years ago. 11,000 rounds now roll off this line each month, and yet it's not nearly matching what Ukraine's army is using. Well, one staggering statistic which illustrates the intensity of the war in Ukraine, the military there is firing off between 5,000 and 7,000 of these artillery shells every single day. And that's why the US military is investing $2 billion to ramp up production of facilities like these. This factory alone is getting $240 million to modernize because Russia has spooked the West. A mechanical war of the type they thought was in the past. It's firing up old factories and old rivalries.
Russia is obviously they're wrong, and we're doing the right thing by supporting them.
I am proud of what we do. It's exciting to be a part of it.
The pre-Ukraine just-in-time supply chain is breaking down and stockpiles are shrinking. Put simply, it's a race against Russia to rearm. It's expensive. Important safety standards slow the process, and this is the easy part. Because from here, they're shipped 1,000 miles west to Iowa, where they're filled with explosives and fuses are fitted, and then to Ukraine. This surge in activity reflects the new fragile reality, hollowed out Western stockpiles and the threat of
.155 caliber artillery. The 105mm, the 81mm mortar bombs around the world are made.
It's a real end-to-end site, this site, so we've got 340 people working on the site. The site's been in this community for over 100 years now, and this site's a new site which we opened up in 2011, and been here over 10 years now, and it really gives that precision machining and engineering capability for ammunition products.
The workers here are tasked with the initial production, forging and shaping the shells. Something that's been taking place in this area for more than a century.
This corner of northeast England has a proud tradition of manufacturing munitions dating back to the First World War. These days, tens of thousands of shells are made here every year, with 3/4 of them going to the British military.
The Washington factory continues the proud tradition that stretches back to the Burtley Belgians, refugees who manufactured artillery shells for the Western Front. Work that carried on in the Royal Ordnance Factory Burtley before production was moved to this new facility. Decades of expertise passed from one generation to another.
It's valuable for the defence of the country. I've worked here for 20 years. My dad's worked here and his grandparents worked here, so this is 3rd generation.
It's a multi-billion-pound operation, with the latest manufacturing machinery used to produce the thousands of shells needed.
We're here now in our forging facility, which produces all of our shell on site from 105 to 155 shell. We start the process with our billets coming into site from our supply chain. We then go through an induction process to heat the billet up to 1100 degrees C, and the process takes the billet to a finished forging. This process takes approximately 60 seconds per shell. It's a pressing process and then a cooling and shot blast process to finish up with the finished shell. It's our biggest investment when we move to the Washington site, which is over a £13 million investment just for this one piece of equipment. All of the shell products made on site has to come through this piece of machinery. It then goes on to other stages in semi-finish and then finished machining, powder coating to the finished product that goes down to our sister site in South Wales for filling.
As well as artillery shells, this factory produces thousands of mortar bombs for the armed forces every year. The initial forging, treating and painting of the bombs is completed before they're sent to Glasgow in Wales to be filled.
So basically, in this stage right now, castings for the mortar bodies are loaded into the auto pallet feeder, and then a robot picks them up and loads it into Operation 1 and Operation 2 of our CNC machines, and then a finished product is passed out on the end. This is a crucial step in making the mortars, as the body is quite a tied up tolerance item of the mortar. So this is obviously the main body of the mortar as well, where the explosives are, so it has to be produced to a high standard. So having an automated cell like this really helps to keep quality at a high standard.
And with tens of thousands of shells required every year, it's vital everything runs smoothly. David Civils McCann, Forces News.